Our night of will he or won't he has continued to 2:30 in the morning here, and it's really cold out. And so I thought maybe we could go live here for a few minutes. And so we are live, and this is not live. This is a little confusing because this is not actually live. It is 13 degrees out right now, and that means that
How are
I
you, Rook Your Hotel?
I
First
didn't.
check kayak to see what lots of people say.
Why is there? Okay, I don't need a kayak ad. It's frozen outside. It's 13 degrees. I don't need kayak ads blasting at me here at this time and this temperature. All right. Well, we are live here on Land Speculation on YouTube, and this is footage of us walking around DC. I don't even know when this is from. I don't know where this walk ends up going. I don't know what happens here at all. And so I thought, why not just put something that's totally unvetted on the background of a video and go live with it? Anyway, yeah. So I was gonna go live earlier. I have a I have we have on our Discord, on the Land Speculation Discord, a questions and suggestions channel, and anybody can go drop their suggestions for future streams there on the questions and suggestions channel. And there seemed to be a lot of curiosity about the impending silver crash. Well, I guess it's not impending anymore. It already happened. The silver has kind of crashed. Silver had spiked and now it has crashed. And that means, I guess, that anybody who was invested in silver lost a bunch of value in the last 24 or 48 hours. And so I was working on a stream that we're going to do here in the next few days on investing, and I don't even really know where to start with that topic because it's a big topic. Obviously, things you can invest in and what you invest in, and whether you should be investing in silver or gold or any of that kind of stuff. That's like a complicated topic to even delve into, and I don't know like what I'm even allowed to say. Like, are you allowed to like give investing advice, or is that are you going to get yourself into like some kind of situation? I don't know. I'm not going to probably give a lot of advice, but but that's going to be a deep dive here the next few days. And so that's coming. Obviously, again, silver has crashed, so that's a thing that's in the news. Interesting stuff, I guess, in the news. The last couple of days, I was pulling up. Let me see. I have so many layers here. See if I can pull up here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, there. See, it's a duck. It's a duck here as we walk by the FBI headquarters. It's a duck, and I was sifting through, stuff that pops into your algorithm, and this popped up. This notification of a prospective video. Now, I know who Benny Johnson is. He's like a Trump sycophant guy who posts sort of Trump rage stuff every day, but like. Are we really at this point with like our YouTube thumbnails and titles? Like, I thought sometimes we do pretty intense titles kind of for shock value here. Like, what the hell is this? Riots overtake Los Angeles, total collapse, LA has fallen. Now, I am very sympathetic to anyone that is struck by any level of civil disorder. I think our tolerance for civil disorder is like way too high in this country. I think that when total chaos breaks out in a community, the rightful response of everyone should be like, cut that shit out, like shut it down immediately, and let's like get back to living our lives. But again, I have like a proclivity toward orderly normalcy more than I do for like destructive, let's complain and make change all the time. Like, I want the status quo to be in place forever. This just seems a little over the top to me. Like, I get very exhausted of our media environment in which I don't know, maybe someday we will evolve out of this clicks world, but everything that used to be about how quickly and how accurately you can convey the maximum amount of information in a headline has totally given way to a world in which there is this eternal pressure for outrage and clicks and just kind of this sense that the entire world is always melting down. And everybody is so desensitized by all of it because every YouTube thumbnail is like this these days that it creates the impression to all of us that the world is this absolute chaos show. Like everything is breaking and exploding and burning and ending all the time simultaneously. And it has done a number on our collective psyche as a nation. It has certainly convinced us that like the end days are upon us and we are a really unhealthy society. And psychologically, it's very damaging. And it's like, you do realize when you turn this stuff off for like a day, 2 days, 3 days, like the world goes on, life isn't that bad, and this stuff that seems like existential, eternal peril that is of the greatest urgency at every moment actually in many cases isn't. And so I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I missed something really big. Has LA fallen? Have riots overtaken Los Angeles? And has the city totally collapsed? Is that what happened? Is that like I feel like that would be higher in my like consciousness of the world around me. I get like I'm on the other side of the country, but if LA had literally like burned to the ground today in its entirety, wouldn't I know that? I guess it's maybe because I haven't watched this video. I don't know that. Quiet Castle, Spyman, and Nightbot. We're hanging out here. So this was part of why I wanted to go live here. Was like I was curious, like who is awake at this time of night? There's somebody. There's got to be somebody that's awake. Those of you on the West Coast are cheating though, because it's I don't know. There's like I have noticed this from doing work on the West Coast. The people on the West Coast, they sleep in really late. They don't seem to like get going until about noon or 1 p.m. And then they work very late. They work very late. They work until 9, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm assuming that that's a cultural thing on the West Coast and not at all just a reflection of time zones. I assume that the entire world operates on my time zone and the people on the West Coast are just really lazy. Jerry Carter is also here, as well as a bunch of other people who aren't talking here in the background. So anyway, if you're here, pop onto the video. Let me know what's going on. So we're just having some random thoughts here. Quack quack. Thanks, Nightbot. Quiet says Land has all of the hot stock tips. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a couple days. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Maybe it'll be the next day. I don't know. One of the reasons the algorithm doesn't love us all the time is because our videos are a little unpredictable and erratic, and I just don't have the ability in my life to just like do everything on a regular cadence, and so you get things randomly. So I appreciate people bearing with us through that. Spyman was watching the blizzard on the Carolina coast. I didn't know there was a blizzard on the Carolina coast. Maybe it's snowing. There is lots and lots of snow right now. It's and again, like this is not live. This is footage of walking somewhere. I was thinking about going live tonight, and I was watching that thermometer drop and drop and drop and drop. It started around like 19, and now it's down around 13 degrees. I was thinking, I don't know if we're going to get enough audience to really justify that at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we're not live. But DC had a whole bunch of snow. You guys know this. We were out showing it live as it was happening because that's what we do. We break news here on Land Speculation. And they said it was going to be, I don't know, it got hyperbolic. They said 18 to 24 inches in parts of Virginia. Actually, it was about 5 inches of snow that fell on DC, but it was like snow packed with ice and freezing rain over top of it. And it has been substantially sub-freezing ever since then. So all of the snow is still there. It has mostly been plowed out of the right-of-way in the street so that cars can drive through on most of the streets, not all, most of the streets downtown. But the snow's still there. None of it has melted because it hasn't gone above freezing in the entire last week. And so everywhere you go, there's just heaping mounds of snow and ice that are getting browner by the second. And to even like cross the street is a bit of a nightmare because there's these little artificial paths that people have like stomped through the giant ice piles to try to like make little crosswalks. But it's still just extremely cold, extremely snowy and icy. And these snow mountains that exist they're not like normal snow where, you step on it and it sort of sinks beneath your feet. No, it's a big frozen tundra mountain of ice. So when you try to like step on it, you just slide around. You slide off it. And so you can't really go carve your own paths. You have to only use the path that somebody else stopped out before you. It's actually quite precarious and very slippery. It's very unpleasant. Mrs. Land and I we had dinner tonight at a place, and that place has like a full glass front window. And I guess it's like when it's this cold, people's normal HVAC or heating systems aren't really built for it. And so it was the coldest dinner I think we've ever had. It felt like it wasn't quite like being outside, but it had to be like in the 40s, like sitting there, just really like that. And that's when you're sitting still. It's really unpleasant. It was a very unpleasant experience. Pretty good food, very unpleasant experience. And I don't know, people got to get that together. Like if you're going to run a restaurant, like you got to not do that. Get some space heaters or something. That's really inexcusable. By the way, guys, if you're here and you wouldn't mind dropping a like and a subscribe in the video, I appreciate that. Those likes help us out with YouTube. The subscribes help you know when we're on. Check our description for the link to our Discord, as well as our Duck Fund, as well as Land Ducks International, our sister channel, which continues uploading videos most days. Right around midnight, almost every night, something drops. So it's very random. It's like it's a little mystery over there. So you want mystery videos, dropping every night. It's a blast. It's a very fun experience. Maybe. Whatever it takes to sell the news, says Spyman. See, that's not how it used to be. Like, remember that there used to be, I guess, this premise in news that like accuracy is what would ultimately win the day, that like accuracy and sophisticated journalism would eventually win the day. Before the age of social media, we assumed that people were so much more sophisticated than they are. Every industry was like this. You ever go back and watch, I do this. I do this late at night. I go back and I watch these little commercials, not commercials, training videos that the various gas station operators would make for their employees back in like the 50s and the 60s. And there's a whole bunch of them on YouTube for some reason. But like the Texaco company has like an hour-long training video in which they teach their service workers, I guess the people that used to pump the gas, like how to do their 5-star service. Because Texaco, that's the one that has like the star in the circle as their logo. So they had like 5-star service. It was like 5 points. You're supposed to do like 5 points of customer service. And throughout the entire thing, as they're sort of walking you through all the things that this employee is supposed to do to make the customer happy, the entire underlying thesis of the video is that customer service is like, that's the way that you win repeat business, is the best and most responsive customer service, where you are the most diligent and dedicated and treat people right, is how you win business. And they didn't understand people at all, because that actually isn't how you win business. The way you win business is by shock headlines and cheap crap. You just slash the prices and you throw up like shocking, hyperbolic, advertising headline kinds of things. Everyone ridicules Spirit Airlines and Frontier and all that stuff. They exist for a reason. Like, cheap crap sells. People will curse it all day long, but that's what people want. They want cheap crap. And the same thing with the news. It's so quaint. It's antiquated now, but it was so quaint that even 20 years ago, the premise around news was like, if you write the best headlines and you write the most accurate stories and you triple source your information and you really do sophisticated journalism and you hire great competent journalists to do deep sophisticated deep dives into topics, like that's how you really win the day. And no, people want like crappy clickbaity stuff with no sourcing and opinion smattered with random speculation about things that maybe are news or maybe are just like explosive, like hyperbolic hot takes about, whatever thing gets under people's skin. That's what people want. They want to find out that LA is burning and the city is aflame in riots. Nobody wants a nuanced little nuance. Like, I'm gonna do a little bit of a deep dive into our post ideological world here soon. I'm becoming a nihilist, in which I I'm becoming a nothing ever happens person. That's the philosophy that, amid all of the hyperbole and all of the noise, the truth is that nothing ever happens ever, and that we live in a world in which nobody actually cares about anything, in which the only things that matter are winning and shock value. And the premise that anybody has any like underlying principles to any of it or values or anything is just a thing of the past. We're all just animals fighting each other for resources, basically. That's my read on the modern world. Sort of like Trump is literally Hitler, says Quiet Castle. Anyone who voted for him is a Nazi, and we are now under total and complete fascist dictatorship. That would be an example of people that have consumed a lot of media that have convinced them of some impending peril. I was talking to someone and I asked them, like, what's like your biggest, because everybody's got like their set of views on the world. Whether you really, like, you sort of have to like think deep, like what really is foundational for you. And I was asking this person, like, so what are your biggest like your deepest like triggers, like what really triggers you politically? Like, what are the things that, like, of course there's always various issues that come up and you sort of pick a side, but like deep, like in your DNA, like what's the thing that really gets to you, that really angers you more than anything else? And this person said the thing that angers them more than anything else is policies that are made exclusively on the basis of fear and hatred. That was the thing they said that like gets under their skin the most, that scares them the most, that triggers them the most politically. And then they proceeded to tell me about how their spouse, who happens to be a skin tone other than white, was terrified to go out on the streets in her city because she's terrified of these masked ICE agents that are going to abscond with her at any moment. And I was thinking about this, like, the thing that triggers you the most are like things that people believe based on irrational fear and hatred. And then you're saying the thing that the issue that gets you the most right now is the fear that a citizen of the United States who happens to be non-white is going to be pulled off the street at any moment by these scary masked people. It's like nobody has any self-awareness anymore. Like, you're the one who has invented an irrational fear. You have concocted an irrational fear at the same time that you say the thing that you loathe the most are when people have irrational fears that they use to take like draconian action. Nobody sort of like gets the humor in their own life anymore. It's if you believe that like the other side is just doing something out of just pure fear and hatred, like that's you turning them into like a monster that you now are fearful and hateful of. Because most people actually do believe that, they have like some rational basis for what they think and believe. They might have different like foundational values upon which they're basing that. But nobody's just out there as this like monster that's just out to get people. That's not really how people operate, at least within the context of a society. So we have ventured, it looks like, toward the White House. The White House is probably going to be coming up here in a few minutes. I was saying at the outset, if you're just joining us, this is not live. It's 13 degrees out, so my attempt to go live kind of fell through the cracks. And so this is random footage walking around DC from the past. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it's going. It's clearly going somewhere. We've made our way across town, and we're now walking in front of the White House. Where that leads us, nobody knows. I don't even know. Like, I literally didn't vet this, so I have no idea where we're going. So I'm adventuring here with you guys. I know even less about where we're going than I would on a regular live stream. You know important men and walk with kings. You should be well informed, says Jerry Carter. There's a new mysterious virus across the ocean, the zombie apocalypse, maybe. I always used to not take those things seriously because I remember in 2005, everyone was freaking out about, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the, I get confused. There was like, there was some flu that was like, internationally, it was like, and everybody's freaking out, this is going to become a pandemic. And I was like, people always just say that, and then it never happens. And then in 2020, lo and behold, it did happen. So maybe, okay, the new pandemic is coming. Thing is, the next time, like, nobody's going to be afraid of the pandemic, and the next time it might actually be a pandemic we should be afraid of. Much of North Carolina got a foot of snow today, and it's still snowing there. Wow. Interesting. This is why I should read the news. Zombies are coming one way or the other. What the hell? Like, what is it about zombies that gets people? Like, why are zombies a thing that people constantly are into and thinking about? I don't know. I don't understand zombies at all. Much of Nashville is still without power from the previous snowstorm. Oh, darn, those poor bachelorette parties. Nashville's a stupid city. Okay, well, Nightbot's saying it's 17 in DC. That would be up from 13 earlier. We always assumed Walter Cronkite and Huntley Brinkley were speaking the truth, says Simon. Yeah, well, the news is, they lie a lot. I mean, they just like, literally lie. And it's like malicious lying. It used to be like, oh, the media is sort of biased. Like, they apply their own biases to their coverage. It's like, we are in a post-bias universe when it comes to the media. There is like malicious obfuscation that happens like routinely in media now. Like, because narrative at the end of the day is the only thing that matters on this stuff. Like all the photoshopping, there was like the guy that got shot in Minneapolis, and there were the scandals over the news outlets were photoshopping him to make him look like a more wholesome guy. Like the people, like you would like bias to me is like you have a worldview, and you kind of want people to like understand these issues kind of through your lens. And then there's like the sort of post-bias universe of media where like that the story is not what you're saying it is, but you're going to just lie about it anyway because you think it's a better narrative. It's just like where people like they want to twist these stories into something they know they're not, just because they want people to believe a particular narrative. National Enquirer News. You know, the National Enquirer gets a bad rap. National Enquirer actually is like, they actually have some legit stuff now and again. Okay, Simone has joined us. A day in the life of Simone. Good morning. Who's up having coffee? I wake up and the world hasn't spun off its axis. Simone, you're up at 2:56 in the morning. Of course, I don't know where you are. You could be in a different place where it is later. But if you are waking up at 2:56 in the morning, you are getting up too early. It is one thing to be like somebody that gets up at 5 in the morning. Getting up at 2:56 a.m. is like, that's a problem. Jerry, yeah, well, yeah, hopefully this isn't like a this I picked a video, it ran, actually I didn't even pick it. For some reason this video was like set up in my streaming platform as a backdrop video. I don't know, I literally don't know what's on it. Norman Patterson. Okay, this is all meaningless. Everything boils down to money. There is nothing more to life than money. Everything revolves around it. How about hiding in a haunted house during a zombie apocalypse? It just seems like if you hid basically anywhere or locked the door to anything, you would be fine in a zombie apocalypse, because zombies don't have any particular unique skills or talents. They just eat people if they get a hold of them or something. Like, why not just like close the door and lock it so that people can't get into your bedroom? Money and power are everything to some people, yes. Those types seem like they can never be satisfied. They always want more. Nobody's ever satisfied. No activist who is pushing for a particular policy will ever be satisfied, even if that policy comes to fruition. And it drives me crazy. As someone who just wants like basic, decent, like kind of status quo, law and order, like normal society to kind of happen, I just get so tired of the people that always want to change stuff. Like, just stop. I mean, I say that a little bit, recognizing that, you know, of course, there's some stuff that that would be better if it changed. But you have these people that just, they have their thing, their issue, their topic, and they just push and push and push and push on it. And I was thinking about this as we were streaming live during the March for Life the other day. And, you know, to many people, that's a very noble cause. You know, to many people believe that abortion is like murder. And so, but you have these people that are out marching, and I'm like, you got Roe versus Wade overturned. Like, what's next here? And I don't know what the end game is of these people sometimes. Like, what is the point at which people would actually be satisfied that their pet cause has been achieved adequately to where they can stop protesting and advocating for it? Or is the process of protesting and advocating just like, that's just a machine that needs to be fed all the time, and so nothing ever goes far enough? That's the challenge with some of these, you know, like communist revolutions. Nothing is ever far enough, and so it just keeps going further and further and further and further until it eats itself. That's how the French Revolution happened, or that's what happened after the French Revolution. It ate itself. These movements always eat their own. Like, can you people just stop? New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Okay, that's very early, Simone. I go to bed early. I get up at the only time my house is quiet. Okay, so you're just doing the opposite. Well, I sleep in two. I actually have a very unhealthy sleep schedule. I sleep in two parts. I usually fall asleep at a fairly normal hour, and then I wake up at about 11 o'clock. And by normal hour, I mean like I fall asleep at like 8:30, and then I will wake up around like 11 or midnight. Then I'll do stuff, including streaming, and then I won't get back to bed until about 5 in the morning, which is even worse. 5-year-old granddaughter in the home. I guess you got to find time for yourself. I wonder if any 5-year-olds watch our streams. It always makes me click a button. In order to have the live chat, it forces me against my will to click a button that says, no, this video is not made for kids, which is a little ambiguous in its phrasing. Because I guess it's true, the video is not like made for kids, but it makes it sound like this is some explicit naughty video that is like inappropriate for children. I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I mean, every once in a while we'll drop a naughty word. You know, we'll drop a big fuck into the video. But I don't agree that our videos are not made for kids. Like, I think we've had people who were, you know, like we've had people who were like, you know, 14, 15, like watch our videos before, and I have gotten notes that like from any of them that was like very meaningful, the kind of civic discussion. I don't know. Are any 5-year-olds watching right now? Is there anybody who's 5 in the chat who's like just really interested in seeing DC and talking about the existential state of our politics and the crash in the value of silver? With your rants and deep dives, many kids could learn a lot about history and philosophy. I hope. I mean, I hope this isn't for nothing. It gets tougher to get to sleep as you get older. I've never been able to like sleep well. I mean, once I'm asleep, I sleep very deeply. But I think my natural circadian rhythms are like more of like a. I think I have about a 28-hour cycle that I naturally want to operate on because I always end up staying later and later and later, progressively each night of the week. If I don't have something that's kind of regulating me, and I do find the regularity of the world to be quite annoying. I like being able to do things when I want to do them, not at some regular interval that the world says I should. But I'm a bit of an independent duck in that way. I think we've entered the twilight zone. So I was thinking about the fall. I was like, I was being pushed because we have this Discord channel where people can suggest stream topics, and we're going to do a stream as a result of that, as a direct result of that, on investing here in a day or two. Figured it was a little too late to do something like that tonight, but I was thinking about this supposed crash of silver that has happened, and I have a little bit of material on that. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so this is what silver was doing over the last few years. Silver had kind of stood steady for a long time. It's like one of those assets that you have because it retains its value, and then it spiked like really substantially up. Really starting in like late 2025, it spiked astronomically, and then just in the last day or so, it had a major fall. Major fall. And we're going to dig a little bit into that, but also that in the context of a lot of other things. And so, but I was thinking about that because every time I look at these images of these precious metals, you know, gold and silver and the like, the silver bars look really tasty. How much impact has Hershey's had on our life that whenever I look at like a bar of silver or a bar of gold, I think that it's probably chocolate underneath. Like I think about the candy before I think about the metal. It does look tasty though, doesn't it? It's very smooth. It just feels like it would be like I want to just have some silver and gold bars because they just feel like they would be nice to have. This fizzy water is Waterloo Peach. This is one of the very best fizzy water flavors. Waterloo is generally a nice little brand of fizzy water. Their peach is very good. Peach is generally a very good fizzy water flavor. Chocolate covered silver and gold bars. Okay, that actually would not be as good. I want the bar to be chocolate and the covering to be silver or gold. I do think if you tried to actually eat a bar of silver, it would not be good for your teeth, nor really for any part of you. Maybe like, I don't know, is that something like Marianne Williamson would get into? Eating silver. Jesus was sold out for 30 pieces of silver. Well, one of them you can buy things with, I guess, and the other is a person. Selling people isn't really something we do much anymore. We do, I guess, like courts will pay out payments and have to like estimate the value of a human life. But we don't commoditize people as much as we used to. I mean, I guess you do like when you're like you commoditize your labor when you take a job. You know, you accept a value on your services and the value of your time and contributions. Oh man, there's some serious knocking at the windows right now. That means it's either snowing or raining, or there is somebody trying to climb into the house here, which would be a little freaky. Someone out there is trying to climb in. Value of the dollar is collapsing. Yeah, well, comes and goes. No, I mean like there's a value to stability of the United States. When the rest of the world finds the United States erratic, it does do damage on the U.S. dollar. It could be a cat. Yeah, that could be a cat at the window. That sounds reasonable. That a cat would be climbing up here in the middle. I mean, cats are nocturnal. It would make sense. This is the time of night for cats to do things like that. And I can see why they'd want to get out of the cold. Let's see, where have we walked to here? I'm trying to figure out where in this. Oh, okay. This is sort of, we're just like walking along. I believe this is Pennsylvania Avenue right now that we are walking along. But like the northwest part of Pennsylvania Avenue on the other side of the White House. The guys on the TV show Gold Rush are getting filthy stinking rich with gold over $4,900 an ounce. Gold has become an interesting investment in the last 25 years. It's become a bit of a speculative investment. It's one of those things where the number of people hawking gold on TV to paranoid people has actually turned the gold into a fairly valuable investment. Just proof that you can make a bubble happen if you want. There's a Charlie Chaplin movie called Gold Rush. One of those old silent films. I used to watch a bunch of Charlie Chaplin silent films, and I don't really remember the whole plot of Gold Rush, but I do remember in Gold Rush, I think they get stuck like in the winter, and they're like they haven't found any gold, and they're trapped like in a cabin. It's cold, and they don't have any money, they don't have any food, and Charlie Chaplin ends up boiling and eating his shoe. I assume he didn't actually do that they're just faking it on the movie. But I guess it would explain why Charlie Chaplin isn't alive anymore. Because I would imagine if you boil and eat your shoe, it potentially could be very toxic. It could kill you. Plus, then your feet would probably get like frostbite. Or you'd step on glass or something, and then it'd get all infected, and it would be really bad. The White House must be extra white. The White House is turning gold. There's a lot of controversy right now about the ballroom and Trump's desire to make it kind of gaudy and gold as opposed to, classy Georgian White House. His Oval Office is very gold and ostentatious right now. Very different from the Oval Office that Joe Biden and Barack Obama had. Quiet's investing in tulips. I think you're a little late on the tulip bubble, but, better late than never, I guess, to invest like your entire life savings into a single tulip bulb. Trump Tower in New York City has lots of gold in it, yes. Certainly his penthouse has nothing except gold in it. I don't know where he got his taste. Like, how did he develop like such a gaudy taste? Everybody's got like their own preference, visually, artistically. People like classy things, but like I've never met anybody that likes things that are just like purely ostentatiously gaudy, quite to the degree that he does. It's a little over the top for the White House. The American aesthetic's a little more subtle. They're talking about his big Arc de Triomphe. He's going to build like literally like the Arc de Triomphe over in Virginia, across from Lincoln Memorial. We'll see if that happens. I don't think they're going to be able to fund it, but wild times. All right, guys. I said this was not going to be a long thing. We were just checking in to see who was awake, alive, and whatnot. A little bit of a rambly stream. Sometimes those are worth the time. And so I'm not going to prolong this much longer. I guess every president leaves their mark. Yes, well, they try. I do like I commiserate with Trump's sentiment that, like, you know, once you leave office, like, everybody kind of forgets about you. You want to, like, stamp a legacy on your presidency, like, you know, buy Greenland, start World War III, you know, move the capital, like, do something big, be bold. The winner is Spyman. Congratulations, Spyman. Excellent job. Well deserved. Very nice. Appreciate quiet mod in here for late short stream for the folks that are still awake. Spyman, Norman, and A Day in the Life of Simone are the top fans here tonight. Congratulations. You guys, if you haven't dropped a like or subscribed to the video, please do that. Check the description for the link to our Discord, our Duck Fund, and our Land Ducks International sister channel. We've got some actual stuff prepped, and if it hadn't been so late, would have done that tonight, but don't feel like the informality of this stream portends only that in the future, because we will have more interesting and more sophisticated and deep divey topics to come in the future. So advice: be a star, be a superstar. That's our advice. It's just really crappy advice, Nightbot. Nightbot's bad at this. Okay, that's what we got here for tonight. So yeah, don't be strangers. We will be back. This is Land, that ancient speculation. And for now, I hope you all have a good night.